Hi everyone, Lewis here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys some more DayZ Standalone news. So if you guys didn't know already, recently there was an 8-minute unedited, uncommentated video which was released, which is a video you're looking at on the screen right now. So I thought I'd go over it, give you my opinions of how it looks so far, talk about some things which I may or may not have noticed in the video itself, and also Rocket was actually answering a lot of questions on Reddit about the video, some of which were pretty important, so I am going to try to highlight those as well. A small disclaimer before I do get into it though, of course this is pre-alpha gameplay. There was a disclaimer at the start of the video, which actually I'll just show you guys on the screen right now, is a rather hilarious disclaimer, but basically try not to be too overly critical, and we'll get straight into it. So this gameplay video does show a lot of old and new things. In this case, one of the cool new things which is just added recently is the compass, and you do have to equip this, which compared to a mod where you just press K, it's quite a big difference. But you can see you can open and close a cover, and with this you're able to navigate around Shinoris. It's a cool little change, and if for example you were walking around Shinoris and you've seen someone with a compass in their hands like this, I think it'll be a rather interesting scenario. It gives you a chance to walk up to that player, tell them where they are, and maybe become best friends with them. Who the hell knows? Player interaction in Standalone is of course going to be a massive thing, so having to bring out these objects manually, like the compass, the thermometer, I'd imagine, something like that. In fact, speaking of a thermometer as well, since the world is cold right now, a new thing in Standalone as well, which you see in this video, is you can see the player breathing in the air, which is pretty cool. But regardless of that, bringing out these objects manually will definitely encourage people to maybe work together more. And like I said, if you see some guy walk around with a compass in their hands, you're hardly going to shoot them, or at least I wouldn't. Another new thing you see in the toolbar, although this was confirmed by a screenshot a few months ago, you can actually get a Mosin in the game right now. Unfortunately, Rocket never actually brings out a weapon in the video, but something which you might have seen in some videos from a few months ago, the customization of weapons in this game is a big deal. In the case of a Mosin, something Rocket confirmed on Reddit was that was 2 scopes for a Mosin, which is a good amount, I'd say, for customization. Having just 2 different scopes which you can put on with magnification, that is pretty cool. And you can also put on a bayonet. I'd imagine there's other attachments for the weapon as well, but those are the only ones which Rocket listed in his Reddit post. But like I said, weapon customization is a big deal, and the Mosin is no exception to that. Something which people were a bit confused by in the video was motion blur. So far, in pretty much every standalone video which has been released, motion blur has been enabled, but luckily on Reddit, Rocket did post this, which states that you can turn motion blur on and off. It's just for some reason Rocket prefers it on because he's a very strange man, but you can turn it off if you do so desire, just like you could in Arma 2. Heading up this hill, you'll see a couple of new things. Of course, if you guys didn't know already, enterable buildings is going to be a massive part of Standalone. Pretty much every building in the world is enterable compared to Arma 2, where very little of them are enterable, of course. Arma 2, it's a military simulator. It's all about infantry battles and vehicles, so buildings weren't really something they would focus on, because why the hell would you? But since Standalone is, well, Standalone, buildings being enterable is something which has been focusing on a lot. This is a building which you might have seen in Arma 2, but you can now go inside it as well, which is kind of cool. And inside this building, Rocket finds one of the new backpacks which you can find inside the game. You can see the slots on that backpack is 25. Of course, you can store a few items in your pants or your shirt, something like that, if it's got some pockets in it. But as it is in the Arma 2 DayZ mod as well, I'm sure backpacks are going to be the primary way of bringing your loot from one place to another. And this new backpack raised the question of what the hell is happening to the old backpacks? Are those still in the game? Or is it only going to be the new backpacks which are in the game? Because one thing which I might not have noticed is the old backpacks don't actually have any straps. And I don't know why, but I didn't actually notice that until Rocket made this post right here. It was probably me just being completely blind, but to be honest, the old backpacks look fine to me. But now looking at the new backpacks, which have actually got straps which go around the front of a character, it makes a hell of a lot more sense. And going back to something which I just mentioned, the slot capacity of a backpack, 25, that seems like quite a lot of slots. But you've got to keep in mind, in the Standalone, there's a lot of items which take up more than one slot. There was quite a few in the DayZ mod, like a jerry can took up 3, the scrap metal, that kind of stuff. But really, the smaller items, although some of them were actually quite big, they always took only one slot. You can see, for example, here, that magazine in his pants takes up 2 slots, so you just, slide a little magazine into one of your 2 pants pockets. So the capacity of 25 might seem like it's a lot, but it really isn't that big, although I'm sure it is one of the bigger backpacks still, which you can find in the game. You'll see here as well, of course, something which is shown many times, but showing it actually working in action is opening up a can with the can opener. It's a very simple action menu, so you're just able to drag and drop items if you can combine them, and it'll be orange if it is actually possible to combine the two. And then you are able to eat the food inside. So instead of just having a can of beans and just eating through the metal and then eating the beans, that's not really too realistic. Doesn't really make too much sense. You now need to open it up. There is quite a lot of items in the game which will help you in various different ways. For example, it was confirmed a while ago that there's a portable cooker in the game. So, I mean, if your character isn't really feeling too well, just always eating shitty cold beans, maybe a portable cooker is something which you might want to look for or find from a player. I don't know, you could take them hostage, like I've shown you guys in some older videos, and say, give me a portable cooker or you're dead. It's a very good way of stealing a portable cooker if you have one. But the point is, the combinable action menu allows for a lot of possibilities with a lot of different items. It's cool that it's there, and I'm sure something, for example, such as rags, which you can see in his inventory right now, can be combined in some magical way. But right now, since he's never combined them in this video, I can't tell you what you combine them with because I'm not a magician. But you can imagine the normal stuff. You're able to rip up your shirt, something like that, and then make bandages out of that. In fact, I know a game which Rocket has been interested in recently because it's been added to Steam is Project Zomboid, and you can do exactly that in that game. You're able to rip up your shirt and then use it as a bandage. It makes sense, so it's probably something you'll eventually see in Standalone. I know that at least. You'll see as well for eating and drinking items, instead of just having you drink it and that's that, they've got a percentage. So say for example with a bottle, you can see he had a quick drink of it, so he's used 20% but he's still got 80% left, and you will have indications in the bottom left if certain things aren't too good about the character, you're feeling a bit thirsty, you're gonna have to have another drink. And of course we've got the new eating and drinking animations, although to be honest it does pretty much the same thing in the DayZ mod. You threw it in your face, you pretty much do that with these new animations, but regardless, they're there, and I'm sure it will look cool looking from a distance watching someone drink a can of Pepsi, if you are so lucky to find a can of Pepsi, since it is much better than Coke. And a completely different topic, quickly, just to answer a question which many of you guys might be wondering. Why does the crosshair suck? Or maybe not suck, but why does it look so goddamn weird? Why is it a circle? Well, it's pre-alpha, everything can be changed, and it is something Rocket again mentioned on Reddit, that it's not something which is gonna necessarily be in the first public alpha build, which still there is no release date for, but it should be soon, as I'll talk to you guys a bit about at the end of the video. But something new which you find inside this right here as well is cooking pot, again showing the kind of combinations you can make. Who knows what the hell you could cook, but with this in a portable cooker, magic can be created. But you can see again in the bottom left, you feel like taking a nap, the little indications of how your character is feeling. So sleeping in this game is pretty much confirmed by that, and looking on the third person view as well, you can see how beautiful the god rays look in the DayZ Standalone, although they do look a bit ridiculous, but still look super cool and over the top. And also on the back of the character you can see the hatchet and also the Mosin, so you are able to put weapons on your back as well. So again, comparing the DayZ mod to the DayZ Standalone, you are actually able to have a visual indication as to what people have, whereas on the mod, say for example someone has an AKM out, they could have an AS-50 hidden up their bum. Although it's not something I recommend, you can do it. That is it for a video. Hopefully I did show you guys and tell you guys some things which you didn't know already. If you do want to see the full unedited video, I will have a link to it in the description below. For a lot of people, the video disappointed them, or so they said on Reddit and on the YouTube comments. Personally, I think about it like this. Does it look better than the mod? I mean, yeah, it's got a lot more cool gameplay things, which will hopefully encourage player interaction. There's a lot of crafting with being able to combine items. Hopefully the game should run better. It definitely looks better, and there is a possibility of having up to 150 people on one server, or even more, who the hell knows, as I talked about in the previous video. So I mean, you know, it's better than the mod, you can't complain. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention this as well, but you can now block with melee weapons in the game. So say for example you find a broadsword, not to say necessarily in the game, but something which you could have some fun with. Rocket said he's drawn his inspiration from chivalry, or maybe his aims to chivalry, so eventually you'll be able to have some chivalry-like battles in DayZ, hopefully with broadswords. That'd be brilliant. Please, Rocket. And as you mentioned in this post right here as well, but of course right now the hatchets do look weird in DayZ Standalone, but let's be honest, they do at least look better than how they did in the mod. On top of the video, we did get a few screenshots, this one showing off any weather effects, as well as this one, both in a spooky, stormy atmosphere. And then there was this one as well, showing something which I was talking about earlier, the Mosin with a scope on it. It is a very low quality, I know, but still, it looks beautiful. And you can also see on his backpack, he's got the new backpack which was in the video, as well as a shovel. At least it looks like a shovel to me. All 4 of these screenshots are from Hicks, and there's this final one right here, which is again shown a slight stormy, overcast kind of atmosphere in Chernarus, and this is looking at the mountain between Chernigorsk and Lectro, and here's a little comparison in case you can't notice the difference. One of the big changes in Arma 3 was weather effect, and because of course Rocket is working with the Bohemia team who made Arma 3, I'm sure because of that you can see in these screenshots, the weather is going to be a huge thing in Standalone. So when is the DayZ Standalone coming out? Well, I did talk about it in my previous video, and it is still coming out soon, it just depends on your definition of soon. This is the YouTube description of the video I've shown you guys. The last part is the main part you might be interested in. Enjoy and see you soon. So I still believe it's coming out this month, or if not this month, it must come out 2013 surely. It must do. The DayZ Standalone multiplayer server has been up for months now, and it's been up to about 22 people on a server at any one time. So it's looking like it's going in a good direction. Should be coming out soon. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time.